Hey, everybody, welcome to The Trend. I'm Dario Kristen, and joining me is Courtney Stewart. What's up, Courtney?
Hey guys, we're back.
We're back. We had a little hiatus, but we are back in full effect, and I'm excited to be here.
Yes, yes, yes. Excited to
But
be
right, we have a special guest with us today, and we're excited to have her as well. Victoria Platt is with us with her unbelievable background, and I was just
Thank you
commenting
so
on the,
much.
the keychain necklace.
here.
You know,
Thank you. Thank you. It was a
like,
gift. It's wonderful to be here with y'all as well. Thank you for having me.
no, we're excited to have you. And now that we're back to some sort of normalcy as of yesterday, is that what they tell us in the West
Woo.
Coast?
Yes, of course.
Whatever that means right
Whatever
now.
that means.
But
The
I'll take
pandemic is thawing. That's what's happening.
right,
Right
right.
up.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get used to kind of this normalcy of what it is. I still got my mask in every pocket, ready to go at any time.
I don't know. I'm not completely understanding. Like they decided on this day that we don't have to wear the masks. And did they have agreement from COVID? Like, did they speak to coronavirus to ask? Like, is this okay with you? Can we can we have a little contract that you're not gonna infect more people? It's a little odd. I go, okay,
Yeah,
because if
Agreed.
that's all it took, why didn't we do that like 9 months ago?
right, right. If it was just a little
This
agreement
way.
between us, yeah, yeah. Like what happened? Right,
Right.
right.
But
I'm with you.
okay,
Like
we'll
okay,
roll with it.
we'll roll with it. We're
Just
celebrating
roll
Juneteenth
with
this
it and
week too.
pray. Just roll with it and pray.
Exactly. Look, Juneteenth is about to be a holiday. I say yeah,
We don't. Yeah, it's
something to
just a good week.
Anything's
all
fine,
around.
guys.
Anything is possible. Well, we are loving all your work on TV. NCIS, you
Thank
are
you.
crushing it, and
Thank you so much.
so that show it's like the battery that keeps going. That show has been on for 125 years.
Yeah.
NCIS has
And
been on for 18
18 years.
seasons.
Yeah,
Wild.
that's
That's crazy.
that's crazy.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And then they have the spinoffs, which aren't doing too bad.
Right.
Right.
Not at all.
So,
People people cannot get enough of that show. What do you think that is about that show that they've built such a great audience around it?
you know what? It's really incredible. It seems like just an amazing protocol they have. They just have a formula. They follow the formula and they are rocking and rolling. The
Mhm.
characters are clear. It's not too much of the in-depth stuff in the character. You get just enough to want to come back. And then the procedural stuff is really fascinating.
Yeah.
So, and they just stick to the formula. They're like, look, let's not reinvent the wheel. And then it's the same with NCIS LA and the same with NCIS New Orleans. And I did both of those shows as well, but as different characters.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes.
Where you play character Veronica Tyler, special agent Veronica Tyler. Now, how is that playing that role? And then do you do a lot of your own stunts and just how did you get your training for playing the special agent as well?
Well, in that role in particular, I only had to do one of my own stunts, and it wasn't, I mean, it was running, which I gotta say I'm good at, but but I didn't have to do anything crazy. Um, I didn't have to do anything crazy on that. The most I had to do was cry. I mean, it was
Mm.
just, and you would think, what is the special agent doing crying all the time? And it was because my child was kidnapped. And so it was just really emotional. I had scene after scene after scene of just breaking down and
Mm.
trying to hold it together because I'm a special agent. So um, it was hard in that way, but not in terms of the stunts. I was grateful for the stunt that day, even though it was really hot and I was in these tight jeans and these really uncomfortable boots. I was like, I'm so excited to be running and not crying.
That sounds like an exhausting day.
But it was fun. It's a great group of people to work with. You certainly don't get to 18 seasons with
Very true.
people who are not cool. So
It's very
it's a
true.
well-oiled machine, and everyone on there was really supportive and generous and giving. Mark Harmon is he's just a wonderful, wonderful human to work with. So
He's
I
TV
enjoyed
God
myself on
too.
the
He's
show.
like
Oh
legendary
my
TV.
gosh.
Yeah,
You know what? And that's actually the number one sets the show. The number
yeah.
one on the
You're
show
right.
sets the show.
Yeah,
And if the number one is like it shows up.
It's
yeah,
And sometimes it doesn't last as long. So I'm not surprised they're in 18 seasons.
yeah.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
also had some awesome recurring work on Good Trouble on Freeform, which is like sort of,
Yes.
I mean, it's still television, but it's like another whole vein and what Freeform's kind of doing around young women and everything right now.
Yeah.
Like, what was that experience like for you in comparison to like a procedural like NCIS?
Yeah. So on that show, I play like a therapist. I play therapist Coral Doveran. And I'm working with Zuri, and it's really wonderful working with her. She's just amazing. It's a lot quieter, that
Mm.
show, than, NCIS is all this stuff and information and things. And in this show, it was very still, and it's just two people talking and going through each other. And that was beautiful. I really enjoyed it. The other piece of that, though, is that many people probably don't know in this past year, I decided to, because I didn't have enough to do, um, go and get my somatic experiencing therapy license. And
Oh
so
wow.
I'm in the second year of somatic experiencing therapy. Um, and it was nice to be able to play a therapist and be training as a therapist. It was interesting. It was interesting to do that. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that quiet work.
Can you elaborate on exactly what a somatic
Yeah.
therapist is and that like what?
I sure can. So, somatic experiencing is based on the understanding that trauma actually lands in the body first. So, when people go to therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, or talk therapy, right, they are talking about the narrative, is what's happening in the brain and how the brain is processing all of the things that they've experienced. But if you are only dealing with the brain, you're only dealing with half of the challenge, right?
Mm.
Trauma lands in the body. And we know this because science has proven that, all right, let's just take Black people in Black bodies, carry genetically the fears, the anger of our ancestors. That's genetic. That means it's in our bodies, not our minds. And so somatic experiencing attempts to address processing the traumas that we've experienced, not just in our physical bodies, but also in our ancestral body, so that we can move forward. So cognitive behavioral therapy is great, but without dealing with the trauma that has landed in the body, you're only going to go so far. And that was very interesting to me. My other business is I have a wellness business, and I'm about healing and evolving the mind, body, and soul of others. So it's a
Mm.
passion of mine. Yeah.
I love that. And this, I mean, also you've created a business off of things that you love outside of just acting too. So it's like 360 approach. You businesswoman, actress, I'm sure producing, all of these things
Yes.
all in one. So, and I feel
Yes.
like now, especially in the industry, the way it's changed, you kind of have to have your hands in so many different things. Now,
You just do.
and as a woman of color, have you seen opportunities really start to shift in acting roles or producing roles or directing roles for people of color?
So I do need to be upfront and say, um, light skin privilege exists
Mm.
and sizeism is real. Okay. So I am small, I work more. It is an unfortunate piece of this industry. Um, and being the type that I am, I work more.
Yeah.
Another unfortunate piece of this industry. What I am seeing more of, though, which I'm really excited about, is women who are larger. We're seeing more women who are bald. We're seeing more women who don't have the regular hair that we are used to seeing. And we are seeing women who are brown skin and chocolate. And that is amazing. That I'm seeing a real difference there, and I'm really excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I seem to, even when I watch commercials now, I think Courtney and I were having this conversation before. I definitely have start to see a lot more different people represented, instead of the
Yes.
same people that we've been seeing for years and years and years. So my hope is
Exactly.
that that's translating in Hollywood and opportunities that, we obviously have to build our own opportunities a lot of times as well, but it's nice to
Yes.
see that maybe this is transitioning into something even greater that we've been fighting for years.
I certainly hope so. I mean, I think when people say representation matters, I'm like, representation is the minimum. Let's
Mhm.
start there, right? Because then we got to talk about wage disparity. And we have to talk about all of the ways that we have to. Ageism is a real thing. Like, you could go on IMDb. I'm not going to tell my age. I'm going to make you work for it. Or you could go on IMDb and find out exactly how old I am, right? Now, whether I look like that in real life doesn't matter. The second they find out I'm a certain age, then I'm out of a number of gigs. It is the only industry where it is legal to discriminate.
Yeah.
You're right, and that is something that really does have to change. I really love that now there are roles that are LGBTQIA where people are like, no, you need to hire LGBTQIA folks. Right.
Mhm.
And it can be a challenge, right? Because I've played lesbians, but I get it, right? Zoe Saldana playing Nina Simone, people had a challenge with it, and I
Yeah.
understand why for so many reasons. Um, but part of that is also this understanding that there's not enough work for us, and that we have to just take it, just say yes all the time. Someone asked me the other day, what roles do you say no to? I was like, actors say no to things? 'Cause- do they? I don't know. What is that word again? KNOW? But I think we are so primed to be so grateful and appreciative that we will get any scraps or crumbs, that we just take it without understanding the moral ramifications of our actions.
Mhm.
And that is also something that has to change. I work with that even myself, is going, but what does it mean to take this role and to be on a screen and now that I have a daughter, it's really different. Like, way back before having a child, there would be things that I would take, but of course I'm going to take it. Why wouldn't I take it? And now I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
As a mother with a daughter who would look at me in a certain way and go, I want to be like that, I'd be like, I don't want to be that person that shows up, and you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think there's a lot that has to change in this industry, but I do think the industry is primed to help it change, right? Even though art is supposed to mirror life, in many ways, life mirrors art. It's become a real strange and kind of shift in the priority that we expect stars to show up as who they are. No, that's actually not life, right? I'm gonna be real honest and say, I have on my touch up appearance little thing on the Zoom because that's what we do. Actors are supposed to show up and be perfect and polished and brilliant, right? But it's not real. Like, you should know it's not real. So anyway, I think there's an opportunity for this industry because of its position and its power and sway and influence over people and how they think, the ability to really change the narrative of so many things, right? Sizeism, ageism, racism, classism, ableism, right? There are so many ways that this industry can shift things, and I hope it rises to the occasion. I don't know if it will. I'm not sure.
And
Well, now that oh, sorry, go ahead, Corey.
like jumping over. I just want to roll back really quick to a point you were making about sort of being able to hire LGBTQIA people for LGBTQIA roles, or a dark skinned woman to play a dark skinned woman kind of thing. There is a consistent argument that we hear always that an actor is an actor, and if they're able to breathe life into another human, then they should be able to take on that role. How do you answer or sort of respond to the idea and what the boundary should be? Because like right now, there's been a lot of flack about Jodie Taylor Smith playing Anne Boleyn.
Yes.
And of course,
Yes.
is like, y'all don't want us playing Black people, and there's obviously historical references.
Right.
Anne Boleyn is actually a historical figure, and is that fair? So
Right.
how do you create, in your own creative mind, draw that line? And what would you say to people that are sort of making those arguments?
Wow, this is hard. I think I've been thinking about it a lot also because I'm about to get myself in trouble, but I'm okay with that. Um, I have some challenge with African folk playing Black American folk, right? I don't know where the line is. I don't know how we determine that. I think there are nuances that people who have not lived it don't get. They don't get, right? And I remember watching a film, and it was an African man playing a man. Now, let me say, an African man who was born and raised in London, okay, playing a Black American man. And it was about a Black male American experience. He missed a bunch of nuance. His performance was beautiful, but the nuance that was missed lost me
Mm.
because I recognized it. And I don't know the answer to it. I wish I had the answer, because I will audition for something that is, you know, gosh, I don't know how we do that. I have some boundaries. You're not changing my color. Like that's not gonna happen, right? Um, if I am playing a woman who was, let's say there was an opportunity to play a woman who was 300 pounds, and they came to me and said, "We're just gonna have you gain weight." Okay, wait. Was she 300 pounds? Did she have challenges with weight from the very beginning? If she did, that's a problem. I can't do that. I can't bring the nuance to that. That would feel disingenuous to me. It
Hmm.
would not feel organic or authentic. And I guess it's for each person to determine, like, what is the line? What is the boundary for you? Um, it's a great question because I really don't know, you know. It is the same with trans women, right? It is wonderful to have the opportunity to be exactly who you are in your own skin and to have people acknowledge your self identification, right? But you saying you're a woman doesn't completely encompass all of the things, right? I remember growing up in New York, I would walk by an alley that I, I was on guard. You know what I mean? When I got my cycle, my moons, my period, right? That's something I went through. That's a singular experience to girls.
Yes.
It is singular. So it's not that, can there be a different name? And frankly, why would you just want to be a woman? Why would you just want that title, right? In India, there is a whole other name for um, men who identify as women, and I don't know if that's exactly the verbiage that they use to explain themselves, right? But there's a whole other title. It's a whole other word. And why shouldn't it be? That is a whole other experience. Because should I play a trans woman? That wouldn't be right. It is not an experience that I understand. So I think it's a really big question, and I don't have the answer. I just have musings about it and try and find with each role that I am offered, um, my own litmus test as to whether it is authentic, whether it brings honor and integrity to the story and to that character, and whether it is in any way offensive to the group of people that it represents.
Mm.
Um, and those are the three things I'm looking for, in choosing roles and in accepting.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very deep subject that could, it's a lot of different viewpoints with that one, because some people might say acting's acting. Wherever you're from, if you're acting, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to
No.
become someone else that you're not.
Right.
But then I get your point too as well. It's a very interesting conversation
Yeah.
that I can see both sides, but it's an interesting conversation for sure.
And the other thing we're not taking into account is the discrimination against LGBTQIA, the discrimination against trans
Yeah,
folk, the discrimination against Black people, where Angelina Jolie, who I love, could play Marianne Pearl. That's a problem,
that's a problem. Yeah.
right? That's a problem.
Yeah.
Let's just be clear, right? And I love the work she does. I love what she stands for in the world, and that right there was a problem because that then says we are not valuable enough. And so I think that's why the conversation is happening, is because there is a deficit in how people are seen and acknowledged. And so, yes, can I play any role? I can. Should I? What is available is not always expedient.
Mhm.
And that's something that we have to be responsible for in these times, right? These are we have to be responsible for the times that we're in. We can't just go, well, it's a blanket thing. That's just how it should be. We have to be responsible for what is happening in the world. I think we have to. I take on the responsibility of what's happening in the world. I guess other people can choose not to.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I'm like, we just went there. I love it. Like you kept it 100.
I'm from Queens. I'm from Queens.
Well, speaking on sort of taking, responsibility in the world, obviously we've had a crazy 18 months, basically.
Yes. Yes.
How has your own experience through the last 18 months informed you as an artist or shifted your perspective or thoughts as an artist and as a person working in Hollywood?
So, first, let me say, because I know it might be triggering what I'm going to say, that anyone who was affected by COVID or had people pass on, I was also affected. I had a number of people who I knew that transitioned due to COVID. And my heart goes out to all of those folks. And I think this past year was a blessing. It stopped the world so that we could see some stuff that we have never been willing to address. And I think that happened on the microcosm as well as the macrocosm. It made people have to sit down and reflect. I mean, how are you going to be in a house all by yourself for a year, or even with just 3 or 4 or 5 people without some kind of self-reflection, right? You either banged your head up against the wall for a minute or you sat down, got your journal out, and got on your knees and started doing some spiritual work, right? And I know for me and the circle of folk that I am blessed to call my tribe, we were all like, "Whoo, this is a real crazy time." But oh my gosh, the self-reflection, the revelation, the space that I'm making in life, the things that I'm getting clear about in myself, a different understanding of my relationship with God, recognizing the things that where I'm not having joy and why am I not having joy there. So a lot of shifts happened in this past year in my life, in the career. I really started getting clear about, and all actors, right? Let me not say all, let me say myself, okay? That the business can be anxiety causing. Like it has a certain amount of angst with it sometimes. And I got real clear this past year, like, why am I stressing? Why do I stress about auditions? Like, why do I get nervous? What am I? Wait a minute. Everybody can get taken out by a bug, by a virus. Oh, so who are the producers? You just like me, you just have a different title? Please. And I worked more this past year than I think I worked in 5 years collectively.
Wow.
I did. It was a blessing. But I think it wasn't some grace, right? It was no, sorry. It was some grace. It was grace there.
You're like, let me
Hold on.
you're
Wait,
like,
wait.
oh, you're like, oh,
Rewind. There was some grace. And also there was a level of growth that happened for me that allowed me to show up more fully myself in the room. And a lot of it I just didn't care about. I book it, I don't book it. What you got for me? Cool. Right? What you throw at me, we'll see what happens. But there wasn't like this, I really hope I do, and I still have moments like that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm certainly not, I've been in this business since I was 6. So a lot of my identity is kind of wrapped up in my success in this business. But nowhere near the angst to the degree that it was before the pandemic. And I'm grateful for that because showing up in the fullness of who I am is way more important than whether I'm booking jobs.
Yeah, I hear that.
Man. Mm-hmm.
Having joy, feeling good about my work. What you say is what you say, right? I don't have anything to do with that. I can't control how you see me and what you perceive. What I can do is show up and do the work that I intend to do and feel good about it.
I mean,
The angels got the rest.
you dropped all kind of mics.
It's been a good year. It's been a good year.
It's been a good year. It has. I'm
I hope
very
that
grateful and blessed.
I hope that people remember what this last year has brought, because now that we're back, quote unquote, to our normalcy, it's very easy to forget when it wasn't like this, and to
Yes.
be the same person that maybe you were before, that you needed to shift some things to become a better person. So I'm hoping that this will keep track with that. Like, people will realize, hey, I wasn't around my family or friends for a year, or hey, I had loss, and what's really important, what does this all really mean for me, and how I treat people. So
Yes.
that's, we'll see. we'll see.
And it's it's interesting. I think there are people who are doing like blogs on how to maintain the shifts that you made and hold the shifts that you made during COVID. Like, what can you do to maintain that? It's a lot. Like, you really do have to have a good team of folks around you, a good tribe.
Good tribe.
So that, you do. You just have to have people who hold you accountable, and you share with them honestly, like, this is what I'm trying to do. And they go, okay, you're not doing that thing that you said you're trying to do. I think that's the only way. We need each other to mirror each other.
Yeah.
We got to stay present of mind, because as soon as we like get complacent, like, oh, things are great, I'm back to normal, like, you easily forget, like, wait, we had progress. Like, we don't want to digress anymore. Like, so it's awesome.
That's right.
But it's been a brilliant year.
Yes.
Also, we didn't get to talk about yet, because somebody's got an Emmy nomination.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
It was pretty surprising, actually. So I've done soaps before. I've been contracted on soaps before, never got nominated. So I don't think it was like in my head at all that it would happen. Especially not doing like recurring guest star work on Days of Our Lives. So when it came up, actually a friend of mine sent me a text. Congratulations on the Emmy, girl. On the Emmy nod, girl. I was like, did you just send this to the wrong person? like, I was like, congratulations to your friend who got nominated. And then all of a sudden, all these texts started coming in. I was like, whoa. Like, it was just like it felt like great, like an excitement. And then it just felt like when you're in the business for such a long time and you just kind of grind, you do your work, you audition, you take your classes, you're not always acknowledged, you're not always seen. And for the most part, most of us are not.
Yeah.
So to have a moment where you're acknowledged and you're seen, it feels good. It's humbling. It's humbling and also affirming, is God going, keep going, right? Keep going.
Well,
so it feels good.
Well, congratulations. It couldn't happen to a better person. I feel your energy through my computer screen, to be honest with you. I'm like,
thank you.
That energy is real. That's real.
Thank you.
And the glow.
Mm-hmm.
I received that, brother. I received it. Thank you.
Well, what else can you tell us? Where can fans find you on social media? What else are you working on that you want to share as we kind of wind down the interview?
Awesome. Well, I can be found on social media at Victoria Platt. That's on Instagram and Twitter, and on Facebook, I'm Victoria Platt Tilford. And what am I working on? So I just did, and it doesn't even have a name yet. People are like, you lying. It's like Snuffleupagus. But I really did do a video game where I am the mission giver, and it's with 2K Productions. That's all I can say. But I'm really excited about it. We've been working on it for a couple of years, and it should come out either at the end of this year or the beginning of 2022, which I'm really excited about. I'm going to be in the next season of Good Trouble. So you'll be able to see Dr. Coral Doverun, getting into people's business again and trying to give decent advice. And we'll see what else Spirit has. So I'm excited to see what the future is holding.
We're excited to see you keep blossoming and doing amazing things. We'll have to have you come
Thank you.
back
I would
and
love to.
keep us updated on everything that's going on.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's been really enjoyable. I feel your energy as well. So it's
I received that.
always nice to engage and commune with family.
Absolutely.
Courtney, where can people find you?
Hopefully back in the studio real soon, because this was great. And I'm like, I wish we were like in the same space
I know.
together. So but in the meantime, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Stuart Starlet, and of course follow our show here at @we_are_the_trend.
And you can find me at Daryl Kristen on all social media platforms. And we are back, so continue to support us, subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to seeing more from Victoria.
I know.
Thank
hearing
you.
that Emmy win on Friday the 26th, I think, or 5th.
It's wonderful to be nominated, but a girl does want to win. Thank you.
Prayers up, fingers crossed.
Prayers up, fingers crossed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you. Have a wonderful one.
You too.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.